Today I'm here with Misery Hates Company. We're going to be talking about the new update that is coming to Diablo Mortal in just one day. Misery, we had the biggest patch notes I've ever seen. It literally took me an hour to just read through all this stuff to share it with the audience. So much to talk about, and I decided that it would be a great idea to hook up with you so that we can
Mhm.
have a little bit of a back and forth conversation of our thoughts and just everything about the update. And I know that you put a lot of content out on your channel as well, multiple videos. Everyone go check that out. I've been linking it down below. Initial impressions of the update, or at least of the patch notes for the update. Just the initial thought.
Wow. Incredibly overwhelmed, to say the least. I mean,
Mhm.
it's so much content. They kept saying this was the biggest update to come to Diablo Immortal, and I think all of us were like, "Yeah, yeah, okay, Blizzard, like that's
Yeah.
cool marketing and all, but like, no, really, it's by far the biggest." I mean, you could by far. I know you spent an hour. I think I have 6 videos total covering all of.
Wow.
It's not even all of it, just most of it. But I mean, you could make an hour video on each individual topic, which is really cool. I think it really just shows how I think some of us were a little concerned about where Diablo was in terms of sort of state of the game after BlizzCon. But this, if anything, in my mind, made it very obvious that it's here to stay, and it came back with the vengeance. I mean, this is so much content.
Yeah, if nothing more, they definitely gave us enough grind for another year.
Yeah,
And
easily.
talking about the biggest update ever, I was with you. I was like, you're
Mhm.
not going to beat a new class when
Yeah,
there's
no.
been no new class in Diablo forever. But
Mhm.
now there really is so much. I mean, we could see from the codex right here. We're going to get into basically touching on everything. But when we spoke on the familiars, I'm still going to probably always call them pets. No one really knew how big they were, how deep they were, and how the process worked. And to be fair, a lot of people still don't understand it, and I don't even understand it in full. And now, with this being said, I was in a meeting with a handful of other content creators just a few nights ago before the patch notes so that Blizzard could kind of fill us in on how all this worked. So I have some additional insight, which I'm happy to share, but it's
Mhm.
still not clear. It's really
Yeah.
difficult for me to watch and read and not get my hands on it to fully understand. I'm just that type of a learner.
Yep.
Um,
Same.
but there may be some additional context that I can help with that we can kind of talk through. Because in my video earlier today, I went over all the information. I didn't go really in depth about things. So the familiars themselves, what we know are there are two different rarities. We have the ordinary and the aberrant. We know that they can get up to level 30. We know that they have different skills. And we know that you can have 6 of them kind of connected to you at one time. One will be your primary, which is going to do your active, it's going to do some active attacking and picking up of stuff. And then the other 5, you're going to get some passive, what would we call it? Passive attributes. And actually, I kind of refer this to right over here, the Legacy of the Haradrim, right? We run
Yep.
through the Haradrim, we get these upgrades, and they give us these extra levels for different stats in the game. When we take a look over here, it does something really similar. Where is this? I lost it right now. Here we go.
Right there. Yep.
We have, different attributes. It's even called the same thing as we saw with the
Mhm.
Legacy of the Haradrim. They're also called attributes. So it's a passive buff to your stats more than something that you're going to see as an active skill that's being used throughout. So I guess since you said you have a lot of question about this, what are
Yeah.
some of the things that you're stuck on? Because if you are being someone that's pretty deep inside of the game, I'm sure a lot of people that have seen all this are as well, including myself.
Yeah, so I mean, for me, active ability made sense, right? It's basically an active skill that's used automatically. I can wrap my head around that. And then when you look at the familiar skills that are passive, I mean, sure, they make sense. One of them, like blindside, you cannot be knocked back and moved unhinged for zero point 0.5 seconds following your familiar. Yeah, that screen right there,
Hmm.
following an active skill. So that makes sense to me, and that gives a great example of everything to look forward to. But I like if you look down one image where it talks about the attributes, that's where I had a really hard time because like, to me, this should just be strength, intellect, armor, or whatever. Like, you just call it what it is, but they don't. They call it ferocity, agility, insight, and resilience. And that's where I got a little confused. Like, I mean, the numeric value makes sense to me that, like, okay, we're buffing something, but like,
Right.
what are these new attribute titles?
And it's funny because when you look at the attributes being shared right here, these are the attributes of that one level 30 skitterite. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
the attributes of one actual uh, pet itself.
Right. Of
What?
6, right? Is that what you said?
Well, I think it's of one of them. I'm not sure because it says
Get it right. Yeah.
the Skitter app. It says familiar traits. It's showing that
Mhm.
graphic, that little image right there, and then it's showing the attributes, and then it's showing the different skills. Yeah, this seems to me, and this is not something that I was filled in on. This seems to me like the statistics and the skills and the traits that we're getting for this one pet, not
Sure. Yeah.
for not our skills that have been buffed from utilizing all 6 of the pets.
Right.
So your question is, what is ferocity? We know what agility is, but like, what are these things, and why didn't they just go with attributes that we already had and maybe
Yeah.
get more of an additional buff to that? So like, are there going to be additional stats? I guess like
Oh
new stats are
gosh.
going to have different things for
Imagine.
them.
Yeah, what if it's a combination of both, right? So, like, ferocity could be, like, attack and, something else, like, I don't know.
I'm
That
not
could be
sure.
interesting.
That
Yeah.
for that, I'm not sure. I will tell you though, this whole pet system, when it was coming, I was comparing it to, a mix of how charms are used, a mix of
Yeah.
how gems are upgrades, but really, this is an entirely new system.
Oh, yeah.
There's no like, it's a branch off of this existing system inside of the game. It's something completely new. So again, something that we're going to have to get our hands on for it. I like the idea of pets. We
Mhm.
know that every 5 levels that you get a pet up, you get your pet at level 1, get it to level 5, you unlock a skill, and then you
Yep.
up to unlocking the 6 skills for that one pet. Then you could utilize the, what is it, the melding feature, so that you
Mhm.
can kind of get them to meld together to choose the different skills that you want. It kind of reminds me of that awful lottery system that you use with charms,
Yeah, oh god,
but which
yeah.
is the worst, the
It is,
absolute worst.
it is.
But at least here, when you do it, and it's not, I don't know if it's melding or one of the other processes,
I think it's that
maybe
one
the
right there.
conversion.
Yep.
You get, I believe you get to choose the ones that you use, which is really nice. So that you're not getting stuck with something. You get to actually make some choice and you're not wasting the 2,000 platinum, because let's be honest, you could get platinum for free. We can get it daily
Sure.
for free, but
Yep.
2,000 platinum's a lot. And depending on
Mhm.
how often you have the ability to do a conversion, it could be quite a bit. Now,
Yeah,
my
and
big question, and
mhm.
maybe you have an answer, what are conversion stones?
Dude, that's what I was actually just getting ready to say. So, it covers it at some point, but the conversion stone ensures that it doesn't become a lower rarity. So, in my opinion, that becomes a mandatory stone, really. I mean, you might as well change the name from conversion to mandatory because the last thing I wanna do is put 3 level 30, pets in there or familiars in there and then get try to get a legendary and get something worse than the 3 things I put in there. So to me, I think because of the cost, if it is truly 2,000 at all times, I'm only gonna do that with a conversion stone. Now, thankfully, there is a free-to-play option way of getting conversion stones. It talks about it later on where, like, if you basically use it as fodder to level up a different one, you do get a stone, or you can buy them in the shop. So it seems like there is a free to play option, which I love. And I think that they took a pretty methodical approach when it came to pets. Like there is so much detail, but everything can be obtained via free to play.
Yeah,
But if you want to do it faster, that's where the pay to win or pay to rush I use quite frequently, and I get roasted in my comments. So sorry in advance if that ends up in your comments. But
I use pay to progress, which is the same thing that you're saying, pay to rush, same
yeah,
thing.
and people say I have copium for saying it that way, but I mean, truly, like that's what makes sense to me. Like, you're not paying to truly win the game. You are rushing something that a free to play can obtain just with a longer period of time. So for that reason, I think it makes sense. I am a little scared of that $2,000 price tag or 2,000 platinum price tag. That's a little intimidating. I'm not gonna lie.
It's a lot of
Uh,
platinum. It's a lot.
yeah,
I also use the pay to progress, but it stops when it's an unrealistic amount of time.
agreed.
So let's say, because we don't know how long it's going to take to get a pet to 30, which then you're going to meld with another pet and and use conversion with other pets to try and get them to the next star ranking as well, because it has 6 stars. So really, this
Yep.
could be a massive grind. It all
Oh,
depends
100%.
on how quickly we get these resources, how much they cost. So if it takes me a year to get one pet to max level,
Mhm.
but I could pay and get there in a month or two, it starts to blur the lines of, is it a pay to win or is it a pay to progress? Because the time may be, it's like a legendary gem. For me to
Yep.
get a 5 out of 5 star legendary gem to rank 10, it's going to take an extended amount of time where it really becomes a pay to win rather than being a
Sure.
pay to progress because it's not realistic in
Completely
time.
agree.
Now,
Yep.
we have the ordinary and the aberrant different types of pets. And this is something that I took notes on because it was really confusing when I did speak to Blizzard. And there, I basically can break down what they are
Thank goodness.
and what the difference is between ordinary aberrant, how to progress them, and how we get these things. So the only difference here between an ordinary and an aberrant pet are that you get skills with both of them. Now, remember, there's different versions of skills too. We have blue, gold, and orange passive skills, I believe were the colors.
Yep.
But in the ordinary ones, you're only going to be able to get blue or gold passive skills. But if you get an aberrant, you're going to be able to get the orange passive skills. And with the ordinary, I think you could only get gold traits, but you could only get gold
Mhm.
and orange traits with the aberrant. And the attributes are the same for either of them. So essentially, you're getting the difference between ordinary and aberrant are that orange tier, which is
Sure.
probably something that we can upgrade to with our ordinary, but we're skipping that upgrading process through aberrant. Did
Yeah,
you know
that
all
makes
that
sense.
already? Because if you did, you did a
No.
darn good job with the patch notes.
No, no, I really didn't. I had no idea. I really appreciate that explanation. I read that probably that section like 3 or 4 times, and I was like, "Okay, so there's different rarities. There's 4 different rarities.
Yep.
Aberrant can do something different than the other one." But no, I did not capture that, so I appreciate that insight.
Okay,
I
cool.
think it
Well, yeah,
Go
sorry.
ahead.
No, after you.
I was just gonna say, they talk about at some point where you can purchase pets, and that's
Hmm.
where I think it's gonna be interesting, where you can either purchase the 2 different types, either the aberrant or the other one.
Yeah, and I
Uh
have some details on that too. More
Oh,
notes
good,
that I
good,
took.
good.
I don't always take notes, but I'm actually happy that I did this time around because I know where we can get some of this stuff. So we can get the ordinary pets to start.
Mhm.
We can get them from bundles, which is going to be just straight up in the shop. So that's your pay to win. Boon of Plenty, which I'm actually happy about because I get that every
That's huge.
month. So really,
Yeah.
our Boon of Plenty is gaining value right here.
Mhm.
The battle pass as well. You're gonna be able to get them from the battle pass, so we're gaining a little bit of value there as well. And I'm anticipating these items are not going to go up in price. We've heard nothing of that, so that
Hopefully
would be
not.
awful. The marketplace can sell them, but remember, we can only list them in the marketplace once we get them to level 30. So we have to max them before we
Right.
get them there. And we can buy them for gold and or platinum in that new shop that's going to be opening up, the
Yep.
Nizza shop, I think. So
Yeah.
that's for the ordinary ones. Then the aberrant ones you can get through the marketplace.
Mhm.
You again level 30 only. It's gonna. I wonder if it's
Yep.
gonna be the same marketplace, by the way, just another tab, or
That's a good
if
question,
there's gonna be a
actually,
new
yeah.
one. I'm not sure. We could get it through bundles again, of course. The shop, the Nivea, I forget her name, shop, but we can't get them for gold, only for platinum from the aberrant shop.
Oh, okay.
And the conversion, that
Yep.
conversion system that we spoke of at some point, that's
Mhm.
actually on the screen right now. That's like our chance system, like the
Right.
charm system, but it seemed to be cleaned up a little bit. So that's how we get these things. I'm most excited about being able to get them from the Boon of Plenty or the Battle Pass, but if you notice, you can't get any of the good ones from the Boon
Yeah.
of Plenty or the Battle Pass. You can't get any of the aberrant ones. So it's going
Sure.
to be ordinaries that we can then put through the process. So not knowing values, costs, or anything like that, I'm thinking that the value is in just getting the good ones off the bat and not having to go through all the grind and all that to make ordinary ones aberrant. But I don't know how long the grind is, and I don't know how much it
Right.
costs to just get an aberrant. So it's easy to say without really knowing, I guess.
Oh, I think I'm fascinated to see what the market looks like on day 1. I mean, personally, I wanna collect as many as I can, level them to learn as fast as I can, because it's similar to, like, what you said. I learn best from just doing it. I gotta get my hands on it, gotta touch it, gotta flip it, gotta feel it, and, figure out that way. But I do wanna test the market, and I'm curious what the cap will be on the platinum for these. That I'm
Right.
really excited about. That sort of, like, economy, in a game fascinates me and how it changes because it's actually pretty similar to, like, in a real economy where, so supply and demand, and there's gonna be a massive demand for this supply. So it'll be really interesting to see how quickly, to your point, we can grind for it, and then how much it'll go for.
Yeah.
Because you could really day one end up with a lot of platinum if you do it right.
You could, especially because it's going to be so hype in the beginning.
Oh yeah.
Now, me, I've been selling gems forever, and I've decided to not go on the 5-star journey. So I've got like
Yep.
260,000 platinum, which is
Yep.
cool. I'm actually happy I have that right now because
Lot.
I don't know, because I could possibly buy, an aberrant depending on how much platinum it is. I'm also
Yep.
frugal. So if I think it's too expensive for that grind I've done for the platinum, I may not just do it, but we'll have to
Yep.
see. Um, Now, we can also talk quickly before we move on to the next topics. This has been a long talk about pets, but
Mhm.
there's how to progress them because we have
Yeah.
this whole system over here, which we saw in the patch notes. We have melding, we have skills, we have our attributes, and then we have conversion. So essentially, when you get the aberrant, you're going to be skipping a whole bunch of steps that you need to do with the ordinaries. So put in 3 for a chance to get a better one in the conversion right here. You're going to be able to put in 3, and you're getting that chance to convert for the 2,000 platinum to get a better one.
Yep.
Now, I think that's actually like, I think all this is like word for word right now what I was being told. So now we
Yeah.
also have how to progress really an ordinary to an aberrant. And
Mhm.
you need to level up to a level 30 before uh or get yourself a level 30.
Right.
Then we can go into the melding,
Mhm.
which is you have to combine 2 of them, I believe, with
Yep.
similar or equal the same skills in the
Makes
meld.
sense.
Or we could go to the conversion, and there we're putting obviously 3 of them and converting them to try and get the different attributes of the next one up, which is the aberrant. I did not sound confident in anything that I just said because I don't I know what I was told. I don't know
Yep.
what how it works. So
Right.
we'll see.
I if anything, I translate all of that to, wow, we can really min-max the heck out of these things. So yeah, it's crazy how much detail they put into these familiars. It's insane. And the artwork, of course, is just beautiful as always.
Yeah.
These 3 that you're showing on screen right now are awesome. I would take any of these in a heartbeat. Yeah, I think it's gonna be an awesome addition to the game, and it talks about here that in order to level up your familiar, get you like, to your point, you said this already, but you can receive a new skill every 5 levels,
Hmm.
but you have to, familiars can be empowered by providing them with spirit essences, which drop from elite monsters' chests or is available in the shop bundles. This basically means that you're gonna have to grind, like, you have
Oh
to
yeah.
do overworld farming, which admittedly I am very lazy on. I am not rank 30, and a lot of people are, and a lot of people are ready for that to move up to a higher rank, and I am so not ready. Like, that stresses me out, the idea of going up higher. But so yeah, I think if these do truly allow us to pick up whatever, like, fodder on the ground, I will be willing to grind more often. That is a just quality of life that is very frustrating to deal with.
Well, grind right now. We've been grinding for the same stuff for a year and a half, right? Like we're
Right.
either doing dungeons for green items, we're grinding in a party to get gems, or we're
Yep.
just grinding for gear and for experience and monster essence and all that. So now there's gonna be something new to grind for, and it's honestly a game within a game.
Yeah.
And
True.
speaking of, we have our new Dreadlands, which
Yep.
there's not a ton to talk about the new zone. It's a new zone, which seems really awesome. They did mention that there's going to be bounties in this
Yes.
zone, which I love.
Yes. I'm so excited about that.
Hmm. No, it's cool because we haven't always seen that. Like it's been a lot
Yeah.
of new zone, then you're going to go there for the campaign, then that's it, type thing.
Now, one thing I thought was odd is that they talk about 13 they've added, 13 new bounties, and I was like, "Why 13?" You get 8 a day, so, like, why wasn't 16 or 8?
Hmm.
So that doesn't make sense to me. So then, like, one day you're gonna have, like, a random 4 and then a 1, like, the math
You're
isn't
right
there
because
for
they're
me.
all per zone, right? I
Right,
was
so
wondering if
that
they weren't all 13 for this one zone though. I don't
ah.
know. Did they?
Oh, wait, it says additionally, 13 new bounties have been added to the bounty board for the Southern Dreadlands.
Oh, for the Southern Dra Okay, so yeah.
Yeah.
I guess they have an
So
alternate one, so just to keep things fresh.
that's so weird that you're just gonna have one random one that's just meh. Go here and then go
It was
somewhere else.
it was probably such a good idea, they just couldn't let it go, so they just kept it on board. That's cool. I'm happy to hear there's new bounties, that's gonna be good. We also have our Sentinels Stand Zone event. This is basically the tower defense zone, is that correct?
Yeah, and it's you said it correctly, perfectly. And I think the part that I honed in on, if you scroll up just a hair on the title there, is the stand zone event.
Event.
Which yeah,
The
so
zone
that
event.
yeah, I interpret that as truly a zone event similar to what we have in Stormkeep, where it's like the existing, tower defense, but just this one sounds like it's gonna be better. Um, so I'm a little, admittedly, I don't want to use the word disappointed, but yeah, a little disappointed. I mean, the zone events are, I feel like, forgotten a lot of the times. I wish this was a total event that you like saw on the calendar. It came in, you teleport to it and you can take part of it. And maybe it's like similar to the Battle of the Hordes or whatever that's called, where like you have someone else doing it at the same time and you're trying to like
Mhm.
out survive them. I think that would have been really cool. But either way, this is a new event, and any new events coming to the game are exciting. But yeah, zone event got me a little sad on that one.
Yeah,
What's your opinion on it?
if it's a zone event like the carriage or one of those that comes a
Right.
few times a day, which is what a zone event is, yeah, I
Mhm.
miss it all the time because unless if
Yep.
I'm playing at that time and either looking at the calendar and point and
Yep.
going there on purpose, or if I happen to be in that zone and it tells me it's coming, I'll run over to it. If it's not an event like Trial of the Horde where it's there for a
Mhm.
week and then gone, I'm probably not going to do it that often. I
Yeah.
do appreciate zone events. I think that it's cool that for the MMO feel of the game that things can just
Mhm.
pop up in a zone and you participate in it. Um, I think the reason why I'm disappointed, maybe you as well, is because the mode seems really cool. And it
It
seems like
does.
something that
It
I'd
seems
like to
really
do,
cool.
regularly.
Yeah, I would be totally down to play this more often. And I mean, there's so many new events, which we'll obviously cover here shortly. So many new
Hmm.
things coming to the game. But yeah, this one I was like, wow, there's so much potential with this type of mode. And I will still play it, right? I will make a video on it. I'm sure you will as well.
Of
I
course.
look forward to trying it out. But yeah, I feel like I'm unfortunately gonna unintentionally miss it a lot of the times. So
Yeah, I mean, with that being said, we're talking about all the grind coming to the game. There's just
yep.
tons of stuff to do, man, and pop up events are not going to be the number one thing that I'm thinking of. Other
Agreed.
things to do include these Heliquary bosses, which man, I am still getting my butt kicked sometimes by the Heliquary bosses now, and well, we have some new ones coming. Talking about Inferno difficulties 4, 5, and 6, and I mean, so what was it right here? We needed to be for to get into this first batch Paragon 100, 1,100 to basically 1,300 to defeat these first ones right
Hmm.
here. Um, and then when you got over here, 1,300 to basically 1,400, you can take on this final Heliquary boss. Now, do we want to talk about what we were talking about before the video here?
Absolutely, I'd
Okay,
love to.
I'll
So
let
I
you
heard a
take lead on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard a brief rumor that so if you guys remember last time they added Inferno difficulties, this information was not in the patch notes and it was just sort of leaked as we got closer to the release date. But when we added the new stuff, because everyone was so scared of not being able to do the new content because it was a new Inferno difficulty and we weren't quite at that Paragon level, they boosted all of us up to the highest Paragon level to do Inferno 1. Now, I've heard a rumor that we might be in the same situation now, where all of us will be bumped up on Thursday, the release of this new patch, and we'll all go up to 1,100. So that way we can actually partake in all of the stuff in this, such as the new set gear we'll talk about, later on, or the new, cufflings and all that kind of stuff, or the new Heliquary bosses that are all part of Hell 4. So I am very curious how that will work out, how it will play out. I could see it going either way because it's now on a weekly basis. I could see where they maybe don't take that approach, and it's only like what 3 weeks away or 4 weeks away since we're at I think server Paragon for most people is like 1,060.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's within reach, but I could also see where they'd be like, you know what, let's just bump everyone up again. So to play it safe, I would highly recommend saving all of your codex stuff to that way you can just get additional heads up when that does come out. But I think that'll be an interesting opportunity. I personally love these Heliquary bosses. The artwork is phenomenal.
Yeah, man.
And I think it's a lot of things that I used to not get excited about Heliquary bosses when I wasn't in a active warband. But now that they made warbands, I don't want to say extinct, but less critical to doing a raid than it used to be. I think more and more people will get excited about this because this is now something that people do twice a week and
Hmm.
it's grindable content to your point that can be difficult depending on your combat rating or your resonance. So I'm very much looking forward to this, grinding this with my warband, jumping in Discord, that sort of like bonding moment of community. I look
Yeah.
forward to that a great deal.
No, I agree. Plus, you get great rewards for it as well. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah.
They're probably it's probably the best event for getting rewards. And I actually made a
Mhm.
mistake. This one right here is 1200 to 1400 right here for your Paragon level,
Yep.
and onward like that. So sorry, had a cough moment. Your whole point there about the 1100 Paragon totally makes
Mhm.
sense. It's just not something that we've seen in patch notes. It's not something that
Sure.
we've heard about officially.
Agreed.
With that being said, there have been some things that have been said for the past week in unofficial channels that actually turned
Mhm.
out to be true. So it's something to definitely keep in the back of your mind. Not a bad idea to
Yeah.
save onto your upgrades. So for me, I've been saving my battle points for weeks now, knowing that there's going to be like the 100%, and I'm just going to kind of hit it all at once and bump everything up.
Yep.
Which, if what you're saying is true, I have a massive advantage because
Oh,
everyone's
huge.
getting put to the same Paragon level on Thursday, anyways. And then I'm going to have probably 4,000 battle points I could just throw in and get a nice little jump.
Oh yeah.
But we'll see if it actually plays out that way. I could have just been holding them and dealing with red dots on my screen for weeks for no reason. So we'll have to see. There's the double down on death in Heliquary. Just basically, that's talking about additional enemies are going to be joining the Heliquary. After you beat one, you'll get some others, which is cool. Anything more you want to add about that? I just thought it was a
I
pretty cool idea.
I love it, actually. I'm incredibly excited about that. I think that it adds a certain amount of randomness to what feels like a very can be boring grind. So towards the end of before you get to unlock a new boss, you just do the same thing every week, and you're like, "Oh, okay, here we go again." But now you have no idea, and to me, like the idea of everyone huddling together and getting their chest, everyone's clicking the button really quickly,
Yeah,
and then just a random portal opens, and you got four more bosses or whatever the number is pops out, and you're like, "Oh crap!" Like, what do we do? And
we're
you
not
immediately go
done.
to yeah, like, and then you get rewarded for that. Like, that sounds like a really cool mechanic that I'm actually very excited for.
Cool.
Very simple to implement, but really exciting and adds a certain exciting level to it.
Yeah, and I like the randomness of
Mhm.
that. They do it also with their dungeon feature. They talk about later
Yes,
how same
yes.
idea. It
Mhm.
just adds some fun to the dungeon where you could teleport there right away to the end boss. The end boss is more dangerous and your rewards are better.
Right.
Just cool. And who
I
doesn't want a
I love
quicker
it.
dungeon anyways, right?
Always. Now, I have a question for you actually, Echo. So,
Yeah.
I have not played Diablo 4 at all, but, I've watched a lot of videos of Diablo 4. Is this similar to Hell Tides at all, or is this totally different?
I have played a little bit of Diablo 4, but not enough to be able to answer that question.
Gotcha, okay.
So sorry, I don't know. I'm not sure
No
really
worries.
much about that. Um New legendary gems, of
Yeah,
course, a 1, a 2, a 5. I don't think we need to go into depth about those.
sure.
Really
Yep.
cool. There are some new gems coming in though. And modify your drop. This is the event that they always do, just so that you have a better chance of getting the new 5-star gem.
Yep.
They did mention that there's an ability to test out the gems as well. Did you see
Yes,
that?
I remember reading that. Personally, I don't. This could be a hot take. I personally don't want to try something that I can't obtain. You know what I mean? Like it's a tease at that point. I don't want to be
Mm-hmm.
tempted to push for something that I can't easily obtain. So to me, I will pass on testing it out. It sounds the Maw of the Deep sounds totally broken. I'm excited for the 2-star. I think that one will be great for
Mm-hmm.
most people. But yeah, I think I'll pass on testing it out. I don't want to be enticed.
It's a good sales tactic, man.
It's a
If you
fantastic
you get
sales
a little
tactic.
taste of that, you're gonna want it. So I actually,
100%.
it's a smart play for getting the
Oh, yeah,
people to want it. All right, so
for
we
sure.
got bracelets coming. This brings up a whole other discussion. In these patch notes, it initially said something about the composite gems where we were going to
Mhm.
be able to, and I put a quick video out on it because they removed this just hours after all this went down. Composite gems were removed. Essentially, what a composite gem was going to be taking two gems of the same family. You could fuse them together, get both of the attributes, put them into one slot. Essentially, that was making us have double the amount of slots that we had, or
Mhm.
double the amount of gems needed to
Right.
max our slots, which
It's insane.
it's insane. And this is one of the biggest grinds in the game,
Right.
even for whales inside of the game. So to double that, it just seemed like an endless journey. And I guess a lot of people were unhappy because they went back on that in just a few hours and it was gone. So I think that was good. But what we can focus in are these two
Mhm.
new bracelets. which I like. And the reason why I like it is not because I have 6 more gems to grind, but I like the idea of being able to now wear a 4-piece, because right now I wear a 4 and a 2,
Mm-hmm.
but we're
Yep.
going to be able to wear a 4 and a 4,
Yeah.
a 2, 2, 2, 2, a
Yep.
6 and a 2. So like there's going to be a lot of combinations that go on here. And after seeing the new set that's coming,
Mm-hmm.
me utilizing a Burning Crusader, a
Yeah.
2-piece set here, I can just throw on a 2-piece of this. After igniting your enemies, they burn duration is increased by 30%. That's a
Oh
nice
yeah.
buff right there.
Same for your barbarian, right? I mean, your farm build is going to be, I mean, just broken with
I,
that kind of two piece.
I appreciate you watching my stuff, man, knowing about my barbarian.
Absolutely,
It's been a
man.
while since I've ran the barb. Although
Yeah.
he's getting a buff too, which we'll briefly touch on. But man, I saw
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
too. But yeah, I like this. I like the extra slot. A lot of people said that gems weren't going to be coming to the game. I initially
Mhm.
thought there would be legendary gem slots in the pet. There are
Yeah.
no
Same.
gem slots in the pet, but
Right.
the gem slots are normal gem slots in new gear. So really, there's no difference.
Yeah. There's none at
There's
all.
gems coming whether they're on your pet or on you,
Yeah.
but they're normal gems, which arguably are even a more difficult grind than legendary gems.
Oh, I 100% agree, and I think that was a big part of that drama, which I think we both covered pretty extensively on, the duping of the gems, is that there is not enough gems in general on a server to max out a full account with normal gems, and I think that's what a lot of people are frustrated by, but now, I mean, so, like, it already wasn't obtainable, now we added 6 new gems, like, I think that is,
Yeah,
and I wouldn't be opposed to like that duping, not duping, but the combining of the gems coming on later on in the game when like most people have maxed them out. That seems like a good sort of progressive mechanic to add to a game to add longevity to it. But
yeah,
yeah, I think the shell shock alone was enough to everyone to be like, whoa, 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 what are we doing here? That's a little crazy.
it is. I mean, the buffs we would have gotten were crazy if we were able to
Yeah,
attain those gems. It would have been cool, but
right.
man, that was just another grind on top of the new pet grind, which is also crazy. On top of, think about, we've been playing since day one. Think about people that
Yeah,
are saying, "Oh, that's a cool update. Let me try the game for the
right.
first time." Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Thank
it's
God they
great.
have all these videos to watch.
I know, man. We got 2 channels right here. All right.
That's right.
Let's move on. We have some more events coming onto the game as well. We have the
So many events.
Splintering Dark limited time event. What is? I don't even remember what this one is. Oh, this is just you do a couple of tasks, you get some gear. So really getting rewarded for doing stuff you normally do. Oh, now this I loved. The
Yeah, this
Darkling
will be fun.
Plane limited time event. It's basically the Fractured Plane,
Mhm.
which I love the game mode, but even more than the game mode, I love how they're using this. They're using this
Yeah,
as a taste or a testing zone. When the Blood Knight came out, you were able to dive into the Fractured Plane with only the Blood Knight for a week, so people that didn't want a class change could try it, and it was awesome.
100%.
They're doing
Yeah,
the same thing now, but with the pets. Because think
I
about it.
love it.
Yeah, I love it too. We're getting all these new pets. I don't know which
Mhm.
ones are good. I don't know which ones I want to use. I don't know what skills are good. So we could just hang out in the Darkling Plane and test things out to get a taste. So you like it. Tell me more.
I mean, to me, this will be as soon as I log in on Thursday, this will be the first thing I do because I want to learn as fast as possible about these different pets and which one is the best. It sounds like basically off reading it, every day it'll sort of toggle between 3 different options you can randomly choose. So every day I'll be doing this to learn more about pets. I'm sure by day 2, we will probably have most of our questions answered between all the different content creators covering and testing all the different pets. And or just the community as a whole for that matter. I mean, Reddit has
Yeah.
been very, very active, and I'm sure we'll have a full guide breakdown by day one. But I love it as well. I think this is a perfect example of reusing resources without making it feel like we're doing it again. You're adding different layers. To your point about the Blood Knight, that didn't feel like the same Fractured Plane that we had previously. That felt like a
Yeah.
whole new event, but required so little development. And this is a perfect example of that. The content is there. You're just adding a different layer, and we get rewards for it that are pretty good.
Hmm.
I think you actually get the ability. Yeah, you get one contract. So I mean, just testing it out to see what the familiars are like. You get to summon one. That's fantastic. I love that.
Yeah, I like it too. We need to remember though that we're testing them at level 30. So we're
Right.
testing them at their peak of
Yep.
performance. So that when we do
Nice
summon
teaser.
them, they're gonna feel like trash after
Oh
trying
yeah,
them at level 30.
that's a good point. Great point.
All right, but we have the best image I've seen in a while.
That's right.
That's just awesome, but it's another limited time event, and this is something that was we were talking
Mhm.
before we actually started recording. you brought something to my attention that I never thought. This is another game mode. It's a limited time event from December 22nd through January 11th. By the way, I love that these events are staggered
Yes.
in dates, because or else we would be
Yeah.
so overwhelmed with what to
Oh,
do.
100%.
But
Yeah. I'm still overwhelmed, but yeah, this helps
yeah, of
tremendously.
course, I am too. But when we look at this, and I'm going to kind of give some hints here, and then I'm going to let you take over. I'm
Sure.
watching this. This, I believe, is the game mode that they said could go vertical or
Mhm.
horizontal. Okay, yeah, I'm right there.
Yep.
There's no attack button here. All I
Mhm.
see is the joystick. I'm going to let you take over right now and tell me your thought on what this is going to actually look like.
Sure. So those of you that have played other mobile games, I think that's the cool thing about being a mobile gamer. You probably try a lot of different games. As soon as I saw this and I read that you could flip it to vertical, I was like, okay, this is a very similar mechanic to what is in Survivor.io, which is a game that is vertical and you basically just move around and kill mobs. Your abilities are used automatically.
Mhm.
And then you collect orbs in order to gain additional experience. And then once you gain enough experience to level up, instead of gaining, more health or whatever, you actually gain additional skill. And this is where they talked about it in some of the leaks, as well as in this one. You can sort of tell you're going to get random skills, which is really cool. So it's not tied to your specific class. You can get any skill, and it sounds like you'll be able to actually select from a few different options once you level up. So I think this is a really great way of I don't wanna use the word mindless, but it's a lot easier type of, event to just try, and you can literally do it with one hand. That's really cool, and you can try all these, like, crazy different combinations of skills. So I think this will be really fun. It sounds like the rewards could be pretty cool, but I'm very curious. This opens so many doors. They literally took a horizontal game and made it vertical. That to
Yeah.
me is mind blowing. I have never seen a game do that. So to me, this is just a teaser of what they could do in the future if they can figure that out. I mean, that's insane to me. What do you think?
When I heard about the horizontal to vertical, I thought it was not true. Why would
Oh,
they
really?
invest so much into
Right?
changing the entire orientation? Now,
Mhm.
seeing what you're talking about, because I love that Survivor.io. There
Yeah.
was Brotato.
Oh, yeah,
There were
yeah,
tons of versions of this game, and
yeah.
it is mindless. You sit
Mhm.
there, you have waves of things coming. You're getting as many orbs as you can after you kill them to get upgrades to your gear to go further.
Yeah.
It's a really fun and addicting game mode, and
Oh, totally.
smart for them to put it in, and I actually like it. It actually would seem weird to play it horizontal because
Oh,
these
I
game
agree.
modes are always played vertical. So
Yeah.
I see that. I do not see a way where this could be like a pay to win or a big cash grab from them.
Oh, I agree.
So which is actually cool, because if they invested the resources to make it so that this is a toggleable screen from vertical or
Mhm.
horizontal to vertical, it's
Yep.
a casual game mode that you really can't they can't monetize. It was literally them just coming up with a cool idea and saying the players are going to like this. Let's put it in the game.
Well said. No, I totally agree. I think there's literally no monetization that can go into this. There's no profit they're getting. This is truly just I want our players to be happy. And I think I don't want to speak on your behalf, but that's what keeps me here. There's so many different games that come out, and yet Diablo Immortal keeps my attention almost 100% of the time. And
Yeah.
for that reason alone, I mean, they're always sharpening the saw. There's always something new that they're coming out with, which I'm like, God, how did they like, they're the first ones to do this. There's a battle royale at a Diablo game. Like, that's insane in itself, let alone flipping it. That's yeah. So, hats off to them.
Yeah, I mean, just to go on tangent a little bit, the people over there, all the people that I talk to at Blizzard, they're just awesome.
Yeah,
They love
yeah,
this. It's
that's
a
good.
passion of theirs. They think that this is great. And
Mhm.
yeah, the game's pay to win. And if you
Sure.
want to be the best in battlegrounds, you're going to have to spend a lot of money. But when you think about all the other stuff, silly game modes like this,
Yeah.
fishing inside of the game, although fishing you could use to get resources that'll help you get further in the game, like all these little things, they bring so much. And
Mhm.
we're on Battle Pass 21. We've had 21 updates inside of this game since launch. That's more than, and they're all like legit too.
Oh, yeah.
So I mean, I guess we could stop saying such great things about Blizzard, although I think they are doing a great job. And who knows? Maybe there is a mechanic here that's
Right.
completely pay to win and a great monetization strategy
True.
for them.
True.
We don't know, but I don't think so. I don't see how that could
How?
work,
Yeah.
especially for a limited time event. Like, who would
Right.
pay a ton of money to progress in an event that's lasting for 2 weeks? But
Yep.
we'll see.
Agree.
I'm looking forward to playing that. Now we have the rite of cleansing daily activity. Again, not a lot of information here. It looks like you're going to be collecting these different petals from different flowers. You can the flora. You can then turn them
Mhm.
in this bowl, and you get rewards for doing that. But actually, before getting rewards, it opens up an event, which
Right.
reminds me of the events that you could get the tickets for. You find the papers on the floor in the library of Zoltan Kuhl, and then you could open up a
Oh, yeah.
portal, right?
Yep.
So I don't know if that's what this looks like, but it
Sure.
sounds to me like a mixture of like monstrous essence that you're finding and turning
Mhm.
in, and the Zoltan Kuhl opening up a portal to get rewards. Anything that you want to add over there?
Yeah, no, I mean, for this one, I read it probably 2 or 3 times, and I was like, "I don't get it." You know? It just, either it's incredibly simple and they mean it exactly how they wrote it, or it's complicated and it's left to, as sort of as a teaser. But I think, I think you're right. I think this is probably I'll take it at face value, and this is just more of a daily event that we can get more free stuff for to check off on our daily list of things to do. But yeah, I guess I have questions that I think will only be answered after playing it, like the strength value from 1 to 5, sacrificed 5 recently, obtained flora to obtain one of 3. Like, so if higher strength flora, so I mean, what constitutes a strength of a flower? You know what I
Right.
mean? Like that's how like granular I get with this thought process. But either way, again, face value, it's a new mechanic in the game that sounds like will give us more free stuff. So
Yeah.
sounds good to me.
And it drops set items, which are
Yeah.
difficult to get already, right?
Yep.
We can get them from dungeons and we can get them from events. Now we
Mhm.
can get them from a daily event.
Yeah,
So
too.
I mean, we get legendary items all the time, everywhere,
So many, so
but we
many.
don't get greens. So this is another way to get greens on the daily,
Mhm.
depending on the drop
And
rate. I think it's pretty
it
cool.
and it wasn't always that way. I mean, I'm sure you remember when we first started playing this game, legendaries were hard to get, unless you were overworld farming hours at a time, you never got you wouldn't get them. But now to your point, we get so many, and I think you're right. I think they realize
Mhm.
that, especially with the addition of 2 additional slots, we need a lot more set items. So this is a great way to your point about getting more on a daily basis.
Yeah, I like it. I don't know much about it, but I like the idea of more greens. All right,
100%.
returning events. We could go through quick. We got the refer a friend, Hungering Moon, Conquerors coming back, which is kind of cool. It's one that I haven't.
Mhm.
I've played a lot less of that one than others. The Brumaltine. I love holidays inside of video games, man. It just gets
Yeah.
me in the holiday spirit, and we can
Yeah.
now send gifts to people, and we get rewards just for logging in, and it's all Christmassy themed. I don't know. I like it.
Yeah, I think it's quick, easy gifts that you get. Usually they're a little bit better than other events, so nice time to get free stuff.
You notice that there's pets inside of this Bromeltine image as well?
Oh my god, I didn't until you just said that. There sure is. There's what, 1, 2, 3, 4
One up top.
that I see. Yeah. Far right, far left, in the middle.
Oh yeah, one over here all the way on the right. Yeah, look at that. See?
Oh, no,
Well,
I did not notice that. Good for you.
so that'll be going on, which will be always nice. Shady Stock, another. Actually, that was another event here that we could get greens from as well.
Yep.
Wild Brawl will be returning at
Mhm.
some point in time. Scorched Sea. All these are things that we've seen before. Battle Pass, cosmetic
Oh,
review. Do you like
yeah.
the initial look here?
So, I think you've covered this on your channel too. There's 2 different ways you look at these. The picture and the graphic is usually beautiful, and in game it's terrible, or it's the opposite. It's the only 2 options. To me, my initial impression of this is it looks fantastic. I'm not a
Mhm.
fan of the guy in the middle. He reminds me a little bit of the butcher, which we have a similar skin to. But the guy to the right of the butcher with like the 3 hands coming out of his shoulder, it
The
looks like a
Necro right
necro.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, like that looks sick. Yeah, big fan. So
Yeah.
this could be like one of those $170 skins, which is a great transition to what's below it, right?
Yeah, our $170 skin. I think it looks awesome as well. I mean, they better look awesome.
Right,
So,
for that price,
yeah,
right?
I think that it does. I'm not going to be getting it unless if I get lucky on my first shot. Are you going to pick this one up? I know that you have a $170 skin or two on your account.
When you say it like that, it doesn't feel good, Echo.
I'm sorry, man. I'm an honest guy though.
You are. No, not that there applies any amount of logic to spending in a mobile game. You could
True.
always spend within whatever your means are. I'm not a financial advisor, but there's my 2 cents. So no, I'm good. I think that I have what I want. I wanted the ability of switching between the Blood Knight and all other classes and having the same skin. I have that. I'm good. So, and honestly, I think the Battle Pass skin looks cooler. So,
And it's five
I don't
bucks.
know. And it's $5.
I'll take $5 on one class over 170 on all classes any day, man.
Right?
Any day.
100%.
All right, what else do we have here? We have this is awesome.
Oh, this one, yeah.
I didn't even so much of this stuff I didn't even know about until reading all of this. And by the way,
Mhm.
for context, I said I met with Blizzard and we had that discussion. That discussion was solely on the workings of pets and the upgrading of
Sure.
pets because it's confusing. I think that they wanted a handful of us to have a decent understanding to be able to explain it, which I can't say I have a decent understanding. I have a better understanding, but I wouldn't
Sure.
say that it's in depth. But none of this other stuff had I heard of. Basically, here, for
Mhm.
one time between the 22nd and the 26th, you can
Yep.
run 10 legendary crests. Make sure you run 10. Don't do one because you're going to lose your chance here. And if
Yep.
you click on mirrored jewels, you get twice as much. So you will get 20 legendary crests from one legendary crest run. My question to you is, if I use red crests, do I get
Yes.
red non-sellable? Or if I get purple, do I get double the sellable? I doubt it. I doubt that.
The only thing, and I agree, I think that I would be incredibly surprised if we did all purple, that it
I'm
would
doing
give
all
us.
purple, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna test it
Yeah.
100%. We only get one shot.
Yeah.
But it does say, of the same type. Addition so if you look at, like, that little pop-out, mirror jewels, and then the second line is additional legendary gem drops of the same type. So is that physical type of the gem? Like, if we get, like, a, mauve, whatever, like, the new one, you're bound to get that one specifically, or is it same type as in bound or unbound? Again,
I
I could be reading too much into that. I don't know. What's your interpretation?
I took it as the same gem. So if I get a
Same
BSJ that
gem, sure.
drops, I get two
Yep.
BSJs that drop.
Now
But
they did clarify, to your point though, that if you do get that, if it does work that way, that it is a random quality the second time. So if you get a 2 out of 5 BSJ, the second one could be a 5 out of 5. And
mm-hmm,
like that is very exciting. And one thing that I think I mentioned in one of my videos is that there's a pity system in the game for both types of legendary crest.
mm-hmm.
I don't track it. Now I wish I did because
Yes.
this would certainly entice me to min max this and make sure that my pity falls on this 10 crest run. Cause I mean, that would be insane to double up a 5 crest or five, a 5-star legendary gem that I know I'm getting. Like that would be insane.
Yeah, it totally would. This is going to be fun either way. It's just going to be really cool to see 20 beams of light shooting up at the sky.
Yeah.
My
Yep.
luck, they're all going to be 1 and 2 stars, but it's okay. But they're all going to be purple, I'll tell you that. And I'm going to have a lot more
That's
platinum
right.
for them. Because even then, if I decide to sell them, at least it's more platinum I can put into the pets, right?
Exactly. 100%.
Question, how does this guy have 1,386 legendary crests right there?
He's about to have a really good day.
I think
Oh,
that's
I know.
I think that's a dev build shot right there. I'm not
Oh,
sure.
totally.
All right, we got a whole bunch of new legendary items. I didn't even do a video yet on this. I may go through and do a video for each class, but this is something that's come standard. Basically, this is how we get new builds, and I love that they're
Mhm.
doing this. This is the stuff that they do all the time that they don't need to do, but they want
Agreed.
to. And this is a great way, I think, for them to balance classes too without balancing
Yep.
classes.
Well
Speaking
said.
of, they did balance classes, and I wanted to say the barbarian's whirlwind damage increased by 15%. I couldn't believe that when I saw it. Being a barbarian guy, that's sick. I don't know. I think it
Yeah,
was
I
nice.
think it makes sense though, I mean, most bar builds now are just, running and sprinting, right? You get the sprint, you get the tornadoes that fly up behind you. You're probably not
Yeah,
even spinning that much. So, I was also surprised, but then the more I thought about it, I was like, yeah, most builds don't even use it really. So I think it makes sense.
I always use it because you can't be a
You really?
barbarian without whirlwind, man.
Spin to win, man.
Got to
Spin to
spin to
win.
win. All right, so the only two classes that actually got a nerf were my Crusader and your Wizard, where my
That's
Conjuration
true.
of Light is decreased. It's not the biggest deal, and your damage to players is reduced by 10%.
Yep.
Monsters is unchanged. So figures our two classes, which neither
It's
of
nerfed.
which are like, I don't think a Crusader or Wizard are really dominating in PvP or anything anywhere, but
No,
maybe.
yeah, Necro goes untouched, but we're not talking about that. We're not
Uh,
ready for that
no,
conversation.
that's another video. Paragon system. I've been saying I got almost everything fairly full right now, and I'm putting into slots I really don't want to put stuff. So we have
Yep.
three more that are coming. We have Champion, Warden, and Ranger. Champion, defeating enemy players makes you stronger. Warden, the more enemies you face, the harder you are to defeat. And Ranger was really good for you actually, for the Wizard at range, going
Yep.
to get more damage. So I mean that's cool to have, right? I like the idea of new Paragon. It has to happen.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I'm surprised they didn't double down a little bit more on the Paragon changes and allow us to have like two active at the same time. Most
Mm.
people have almost everything totally, kitted out, and I want to say that's been at least talked about. At some point in a patch notes. I could be wrong there, but yeah, I think the champion, it's interesting. So unless it has a sort of revive mechanic similar to Gladiator, no one's going to use it for PvP. I mean, that is why everyone uses Gladiator is that you get the ability of just coming right back.
Hmm.
But it depends on what the buff is and how much stronger you get. But to your point, Ranger ties very specifically. So instead of using Weaver, a lot of range classes will likely use Ranger. That makes logical sense to me. But then Warden, the first thing that came to mind for me was Trials of the Horde, and it's probably because it's going on right now. But I saw this and I was like, "Oh yeah, that is the new Paragon tree to use for Trials of the Horde."
Except for you have to be in Inferno difficulty 5 to get it. So
Yeah,
we have a little
yeah,
ways to go before we can get
gotta
there.
grind.
But hey, we'll have champion all completely filled out by the time it's time to go to Warden,
It's right,
and then
yeah, literally.
6 for you, the Ranger. But we also do
Yep,
have the biggest update hype that really isn't that big of update hype, depending on who you talk to.
yep.
The gender change, as I mentioned to you
Mhm.
before, Blizzard being very safe, calling it changing of the body type. Uh,
Yes, very politically correct.
very politically correct. I think it's cool that they're doing it because
Yep,
not that I think it's something that I care about, but
sure.
clearly there's a large amount of the community that cares about this, and Blizzard just did it.
Mhm.
And that was cool
Yeah.
again, and it's all for free. You could do it. It's every 7 days. Another change the community wanted, Blizzard did just because they're trying to, do what the community wants, which I thought was cool.
Yeah, I have one guy in almost all of my videos that comments, "When is gender change coming?" So, wherever
See?
you are, you can be happy now.
Yep. Yep, exactly. Greed spoils, that's what we were talking about, the dungeon where you can get into a teleport, take you right to the boss where it's harder, which is great. We talked about the legendary gem trial. Challenge rifts. I think I skipped this in my video today.
Yeah, me
Increase
too,
from
actually.
450 to 500. That's cool. I mean,
I don't even
it's
know where I'm at.
I don't either. I mean, I underperform. I don't do it as much as I should. I'll probably do it even less now if there's more to grind. But obviously, we're going to be getting more levels so we can get our green gear up, especially now that we have
Yeah.
two new bracelets that need to go from 1 all the way up to 20 at this point.
Ooh, that's a good point. I didn't think about leveling those up. You're absolutely
Yeah, we
right.
got to
That
level
will
them up.
oh, man,
Yep.
we gotta level them up.
See, that's
Dang
the
it.
thing. We have the essence extraction loyalty reward. So when you're trying to get that one essence, the last one that it was the one why you changed classes and it's the one that you never got.
Yep.
We've all been there. Now you can get
Oh,
better
I love
odds
this.
on the essences that you want, which is cool. Again, just trying to make it
Yep.
easier.
I
Battle.
honestly, of all of the quality of life changes, that's the one I look forward to the most. When I jump around to different classes and I spend weeks grinding for one essence, it drives me crazy, so I love this.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it literally happens to everyone. Like there's one
Mhm.
thing that you need these 8 pieces or even a lot of times 6 pieces of gear, and there's just one that you just never get. We got some
Yep.
updates to matchmaking where they're not going to have you re-queue every time, which is cool. Compression of battleground stats. I don't even remember what that one was
Yeah.
about. Not a big battlegrounds guy myself.
I'm
Oh,
not either, but I can feel that this won't go over well for the passionate battleground community.
why is that?
Um,
Curious.
so I had a video with Lita a long time ago, and I think he's since changed his name, but he was very passionate about PvP, and so I always leaned on his sort of insight and expertise on it. And these stat crunches really impact the whales the most because they paid to get stronger in battleground. That is the exact pay to win mechanic that Diablo Immortal sort of doubles down on.
Hmm.
But these stat compressions are taking away that benefit, so it's lowering the value, and I use that loosely, but lowering the value of gaining more resonance because it's just lowering it intentionally. So I would love to see a whale's opinion of this. I mean, my uneducated opinion is that they probably don't like it, but I'd be curious to see what someone else thinks.
That makes sense. No, I completely agree with you there. Good point. I'm glad you brought it up. Heliquary boss rotation, set items. So we're basically getting a chance of getting better set items.
Yeah.
The market, they're getting rid of the cells, having to hold the platinum, taking up the slot. Stance button relocation. Did you ever accidentally knock into that button? I never
Dude, all
do.
all the time.
See,
Oh,
but
really?
I never do. But I guess it
Oh, I do
depends
it
on how
all the
you
time.
play. But a lot of people say that they do.
Yeah, I just fat finger the hell out of it every single time with my when I swipe over to, like, my top right button, I just hit it all the time. I'm like, "Dang it, there you go. Wasted a cooldown."
Well, then it's good that we can now change the location of it. Now it'll go under your
Yep.
attack button, so you could accidentally hit it down there instead.
I love it. Yeah, I'll hit it more than now
Yeah,
down in there.
exactly. You're probably right. All right, I'm reading right here about the up. I forget what this one even was. The upgrade notification rework. Oh, this
This
was
is
when
new,
you
I
get
don't
a new piece of gear, 3 arrows up. Now there's a less AI generated way to tell if the piece of gear is better or not. Cool thing is
ah,
you could toggle it in the settings. So if you want to just go with the old school arrows up type thing, you can. I guess some people were getting better pieces of gear and trashing it, not realizing that it was better
sure.
because the arrows didn't indicate Hero's Journey, getting a reset. We're getting new stuff for there. Same thing with Prodigy's Path. New conquest rewards, of course, because of the new Paragon levels and all of that. We're not getting proximity chat. That's going to be only happening over in China. Then bug fixes, man. That was the
Yeah,
update
this
in
is huge.
full. I literally went over this update now twice. Once yesterday, once today with your opinions on it as well.
Yeah,
And the video was just about the same length of time, which is pretty funny.
that's impressive, really.
Very impressive. I'm efficient with my time.
You are,
Overall, it's an overwhelming update, but it's gonna give us another full year's worth of content. And I'm wondering,
for sure.
and I hate being the guy that does this, but like before this even comes, what's gonna come in 6 months? Last year
Right.
they did that. The 1 year anniversary. They brought the
Mhm.
Blood Knight. Now we're 6 months
Yep.
up, and we got this massive update. I'm wondering if this is what their cycle's gonna be like, and I wonder how long this is gonna be like the new hotness for the game,
I
or
agree.
or if people are even going to like it. Like pets,
Yeah.
people may not like the pets because it may just be too much. I hope that's not the case. They look awesome. I love watching the battle.
Mhm.
By the way, that cat thing, I don't know if you
Yeah,
saw
yeah.
some of that footage I found, but it seems
Yep.
to drop a shield on top of everyone, which is incredible. That
They look broken.
sounds pretty awesome if you ask me.
Oh, yeah. I think, my final thoughts on all of it, it's overwhelming, it's incredibly exciting. I am, just to be not a Debbie Downer, but being realistic, I'm a little worried about the amount of content coming into the game and if what kind of bugs we'll run into. Um, but ultimately, yeah, you're right. I think this it sets the tone. So, yeah, 6 months from now, I expect a new class.
Yeah, yeah, man. I'll be honest. I don't expect too many bugs. I haven't really seen too many bugs in the game over
Yeah,
its
same. I
release.
don't see
Like
too
it's
many.
it's been pretty good, but you never know. You never know.
Mhm.
But hey, man, thanks for coming to the channel. For all of you that
Thanks for
don't know,
having me.
Misery Hates Company, he covers Diablo Immortal on his channel every day as well. He's been breaking this update down in smaller pieces, more digestible pieces of content. I'll be linking his channel down below. Go check him out. Watch a video. If you like the guy, subscribe to his channel as well. I'm gonna have him on more often so we can kind of talk shop with you guys. It's great to be able to dig into your brain. So thanks for coming through, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Love the banter.
Yeah, me too, man. But you guys, I hope you enjoy the update and are excited for it. We'll see you on the 14th. Maybe live, maybe not, but we'll be playing Diablo more alongside of you. Take care, guys.